Episode 128 of 5 Drinks to Midnight. Another show, we bring the questions, guests bring the drinks. We try to wrap up before midnight. Today we are headed back to the Spaniard to talk to Allie Klug, East Region American Whiskey Ambassador for James B Beam Distilling. But before we do, like and subscribe, hit the bells, the whistles, leave a comment if you like what we're doing. Let's get started. For joining me. 5 drinks for midnight, 5 drinks, 5 questions. Thanks for joining me at the Spaniard. How are you doing today?
I'm doing so good. Welcome to Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. I guess let's just jump right into it. What the fuck are we drinking first?
All right, we're going to start off with the newest permanent member of the Basil Hayden family, which is like lights out. It's just so exciting. It is our malted rye. So This came out at the end of last year, specifically in New York, kind of around September. And it is 100% malted rye. So as a lot of people may or may not know, Basil Hayden is our high rye bourbon within all, like the spectrum of the James B Beam portfolio, but we just went full throttle, all rye.
Nice.
What's really fun and exciting about this is there's not a lot of 100% malted ryes on the market. When you talk about a malted grain in American whiskey, more often than not, you're looking at 5 to 10%. And it's really for fermentation, right? It's not for flavor. Okay. But this is for flavor for us. The malting process really breaks that tough rye grain down and brings a lot of flavor out that you don't normally think about when you think about drinking rye. So for me, this kind of puts like drinking rye like on its head. Okay. And it changes that experience and it changes the way bartenders are looking at it. And it meets a lot of people like exactly where they are in their drinking journey, which I think is applicable to all Basil Hayden. So like people who like rye like this because it's different. People who don't like rye like this because it's different. All right. And that's super fun. Okay. You get to bring a lot of people into the conversation that wouldn't normally be a part of it. All right. And I think whiskey should be inclusive. Okay. Awesome. So, do a little jammer. All Basil Hayden's 80 proof, so this is definitely one that like you can drink without rocks or with rocks. I mean, listen, drink your whiskey however you want. That's the beauty of it being your own experience, but I think we'll be pretty good to go without any. Yeah. I think we're both pretty professional. Yeah. Professional. Yeah, you're a part of the team. Get on over.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Is this your first time having it?
It is.
Great. I love when I get to have new experiences with people. It's a really fun part of my job. Also, aesthetically, I love the jeweled tones of the Basil Hayden line. So, like, designing a room or tablescaping when it's a Basil Hayden event is super fun for me because it's, like, very much my aesthetic. The rose gold and all of that. So, I'm definitely a decorating fanatic when it comes to my job.
That's awesome.
Isn't it so nice?
That is so nice.
Yeah.
Cause I'm a big rye dude, and I love rye, and it's different. So like that's the whole point right there.
The floral notes, the stone fruit. I get this beautiful honeysuckle. Like it's just, and the pepper is there, but it's a different type of pepper, right? You're thinking more like white, pink peppercorn of that like medley, as opposed to that deep, dark cracked pepper that you associate with rye. And I love the fact that we can now talk about the fact that it is a versatile grain and it can give you multiple things, and it's okay to have different styles out there because there are different drinkers. And again, whiskey should be inclusive. Like everyone should be able to be a part of the party.
Yes, I'm just staring at it.
Yeah, it's so good. I mean, you can have as much as you want, my friend.
It's so, I might sneak it just a little bit more just because.
Don't apologize.
That's just really nice. So,
It fits so perfectly within that ethos of Basil Hayden that we have of like approachable, sophisticated, elegant, and for everyone.
Okay.
You know, like I love our brands. One of the things I got so excited about when I had the opportunity to take this job is that there's a whiskey for everything. Like Booker's is amazing, but you don't wake up every morning thinking today is a cask strength day.
Sure.
And there needs to be room for all of it. And also, like, one of my things that I really, really want to do in this position is that, like, get rid of that myth of, like, if you're not drinking high proof, then you're not a real whiskey drinker.
Okay.
Why?
Yeah.
Like, why does that need to be a narrative? That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, well, like now that seems to be very much a theme. Everybody's going to that cask strength or even to that hazmat kind
There's room
of thing.
for all of it, right? There gets to be a space for all of it, which is why it's like, if we can be inclusive of the cask strength, then why can't we be inclusive of an 80 proof? I don't think it negates anyone's like whiskey drinking chops to like this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And this is, I like this a lot.
It's so good.
It's so good.
I'm really happy.
All right, so question one.
Yes.
It's our origin story question.
Okay.
So, how'd you get started in the spirits industry? And is it true it's because your mom stopped you from being a psychologist and got you into a wine class?
Okay, so here's how this kind of came to fruition. Like, I originally went to school as a psychology major, and I do think that, like, I read people really well, and like I've been told that I give a lot of really good advice. So if you need me, call me. And it's a fun, like, anthropology and studying people, like, is always something I've been super interested in, like how the mind works. But you know, when you're younger and your parents tell you that, like, if you want things, you have to earn money, you find a job. Yeah. It was quite truly like, if you want to go bowling with your friends, like, figure out how to go bowling with your friends, because, like, we're not an ATM. Like, my parents just always instilled a very, like, deep work ethic, which I am very grateful for. But I was struggling. I wasn't really, like, passionate about what I was doing. I was finding it hard to motivate myself. And so my mom just sat me down and was just like, let's talk about it. Like, what gets you excited? What makes you happy? Like, let's figure out a path that works for you. And my mom doesn't drink.
Okay.
So she wasn't like, oh, do alcohol. But at the time I was working at a restaurant that was the one town over. Yeah. And I got really, really excited every time we got a staff education, or it was a microbrewery, or it is a microbrewery, it still exists. And every time the microbrewer would talk to me about the fermentation and all of that stuff, and I'm like, this is really cool. And I wanted to study, and I wanted to learn, and I wanted to continue to move forward. So she's like, all right, well, if this is what motivates you to do the work, then let's figure out how to make that happen. And the deal was, so we're sitting at lunch, and like, we went to a bookstore to kind of wander and continue to chat, and I found Wine for Dummies. Okay. And in the back of Wine for Dummies, because it's written by Mary Ewan Mulligan, and she runs the International Wine Center in Midtown, which is a part of the Wine and Spirits Education Trust, the WSET, all that jazz. And Mom was like, all right, here's the deal. We will pay for your first round of classes, and if you decide not to do it, or if you think that this isn't something you want to pursue, then you'll figure out how to pay us back for it. Or if this is something you want to pursue, we'll work together on how to make this education happen for you. So my parents, my mom was like very kind and loving, but also very practical, which I appreciate about her, because my dad is like the ding dong, like perfect dad jokes, like real silly, like they really balance each other out very well. And I ended up loving it. So I did the intermediate course, and then you do the advanced course. The advanced course is a prerequisite to the diploma, and just kind of everything started to kickstart from there. But what I realized is it is definitely like a at-home study with the supplement of classes.
Gotcha.
And restaurant life wasn't really doing it for me. Not like I loved it, but like schedule-wise, I needed to not be there until very late at night if I wanted to pursue this. So I ended up moving over to the retail side. And originally it was definitely like a lot of wine stuff, and I still think wine is really cool, and I definitely still drink it. But I moved to the wine library, and wine library has a beautiful selection of spirits. And for some reason, one of the wine directors like got it in his head that I was an expert on whiskey.
Okay.
Because there are spirits classes throughout every section of these courses.
Right.
So, and I thought it was super cool. Can I say that I loved drinking 10 cane rum at 8 a.m. in class? No, I did not. But yeah, his name's Ian, and he just was like, Allie's our whiskey expert. And it was very much one of those like, I think I like this. But it was like a little fake it till you make it kind of moment of like, I'm not gonna tell him he's wrong, and I'm just gonna like expedite how much I can learn about whiskey as quickly as I can, and with the opportunities that I had within that space, because retail functions really differently than on premise. There's a lot more to choose from, there's a lot more that you have access to, and being one of the largest retail companies in the country, people were constantly bringing in samples and doing tastings and talking about things, so I just had a lot of opportunity to learn a lot really quickly, which was great. And then I just kind of never looked back.
So then, like, again, because you talked a lot about, you know, from being behind the bar and then now to your position at being start, how'd that come about?
A lot.
And then also,
there's a lot of stuff in between.
And then also being Jersey proud, how'd you end up in New York then? Like that's
So I had a coworker at Wine Library. Her name's Kristen Murphy. Shout out to Kristen if she sees this. Love her to death. And she called me one day and was just like, I know someone who needs a spirits fire in the city. And she kind of knew that I wanted to make that like leap into fully more kind of spirits. Because at the time at Wine Library, I had like a list of clients that I worked with for futures and highly allocated things. And I was like helping a lot with like events internally and things like that. But I wanted to just kind of fully make that jump into spirits.
Okay.
So she got me an interview for Venturi Fine Wines down in Battery Park City.
Nice.
And they were in the middle of kind of putting it together and like opening the store. And I was like, hell yeah. So I didn't move right away.
Okay.
I commuted for like maybe 3 months before I couldn't take it anymore and ended up moving. And I like did the math, and at the time, like, it was cheap, which is crazy at the time, because this is like 11 years ago now at this point.
Okay.
It was cheaper to live here than it was to commute.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, I'm doing it. I made the leap. I had like no idea what to do or where I was going. I was just like, this is an apartment I can afford, and it's off a line that gets me to my job.
Nice.
At the end of the day. And it was perfect. It was like the perfect first step. Such a nerdy little space. I'm not sure if the same person's running the store anymore, but like such an immense amount of knowledge on like champagne and burgundies and things like that, but gave me all the space in the world I needed to do what I wanted to do with the spirits.
Okay.
And it wasn't a huge selection, but I was really, really proud of it. And from there, I gained a reputation.
Did you gals hear about Allie?
For the way that I purchased and like my mentality behind spirits. I was given an opportunity from Patrick Watson, who has always been a big part of the retail scene within New York, and also like co-owner of Stinky Cheese with his wife. Oh. They've done a beautiful job with their empire. Yeah. And we worked together to open a new store called Back Label Wine Merchants. Okay. And that was from the ground up. And again, he was very like, you know what you're doing, I'm the wine guy, but it was a much larger scale. Okay. And not only did we have more space, because it was like an old men's warehouse that we were taking over, and one part became Stinky Brooklyn, and then a huge space for wine and spirits. So I had like a wall of booze that I got to just do whatever I wanted with, which was such a playground. I was so happy. But behind all of those was a space where we did classes and for consumers, so like pairing classes and cocktail classes, and like a series with Robin Robinson about literally about whiskey pairing with cheese and charcuterie and chocolate. And I was not only the Spirits Buyer, but also kind of in charge of like the educational and events program.
Okay.
And that lent to doing like book launches for Julie Reiner and Dave Wondrich and all these beautiful people. And people started to want to do like product launches in this space and portfolio tastings. And I really just kind of, I don't know if something like that will ever exist again. It was such a beautiful, special moment in time.
Time gives legitimacy to its existence. Time is the only true unit of measure. Without time, we don't exist.
And I could not be prouder or happier about the time that I got to spend there. But after, I think about 3.5 years, you know, time doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
I realized that I kind of hit my peak of what I could do in that space and wanted to make the jump. And from there, it was a lot of just kind of testing things out and seeing if it worked for me or if it didn't work for me, or like what would make me happy. Like, it was essentially the same thing my mom did to me, like however many years ago, of like, all right, now I'm in the space I want to be in. Like, I'm in the spirits industry. I did not realize how many options there were once you were in it. Awesome. And like how many jobs are available to you. And I tested out as many as I possibly could to figure out what was right for me. And that included like bartending again and managing bars and trying out what market manager would look like for brands for me. And like nothing ever really was exactly the right fit. And not to say that I wasn't good at the job, but it just wasn't, I couldn't find the right combination of things that sparked joy for me. Okay. And admittedly, about 6 or 7 years ago, like I looked into Beam Suntory and realized that it was a company that I would really like to work for, because they have a lot of integrity, and the brands that they work with are such high quality brands, and they want what's best for the environment and for the community and for our industry as a whole. And so I kind of started that little journey of figuring out, how do I get hired by this company? And it took a while, but it all happens for a reason, right? There were certain experiences that I needed to go through, and the jobs that were available that I had interviewed for in the past, you know, I look back at now and I was just like, that wouldn't have been the right fit for me. And it all kind of came together when this position opened up, because it is the perfect amalgamation of events and education and connecting with people and creating experiences, but also like mentoring people and helping them get what they want, and like just teaching them about the beautiful whiskeys that we make. Like, it's the perfect fit. And every time I like talk to a friend about it, because I'm close to about a year now. Okay. And every time I talk to someone, they're like, I've never seen you happier. This seems like this is the job that you've needed to be in your whole life. And I was like, I know.
Well, there we go. I think that's a perfect way to end it, because that is fucking awesome. I mean, I think that is an awesome origin story. You manifested it. You made it happen. Thanks, Mom. And
thanks, Mom. I mean, I thank Barb for a lot of things, for sure.
Question 2, drink 2. What are we drinking?
All right, we're moving on to Claremont Steep. So again, something that came out last year. We're moving into the American single malt world. There's not a ton of legal restrictions around this category. So when you say American single malt, one of two things will pop up into someone's brain. Either they go, what are you talking about? Yeah. And they have like no frame of reference, or whatever you think about is different and tastes different than what I'm thinking about, because there's not like a flavor profile that's really like defining the category, which I think is actually really cool. Yep. There are a group of distillers that are trying to work towards there being some parameters around it, but that's not the world we live in right now. So we're kind of the first big company to jump into this category. I know very recently Bullet just released one, but you're first. Sorry, guys. So Claremont Steep is a project that's coming directly from Freddie. So Freddie is our 8th generation master distiller. He's working currently in tandem with his dad, Freddie. So we have 2 master distillers working at the same time. And they have kind of 2 different focuses. They have some products that they work on together, but Claremont Steep is definitely a Freddie no.
Okay.
It is 100% malted barley, but it's 80% distiller's malt, so the malt that we use for most of our other mash bills, and then 20% Golden Vienna Pilsner.
Okay.
And what's really kind of fun and interesting about this process is that there was basically a bunch of nerdy scientist distiller people in a room making like barley tea with all of these different barleys out there in the world to figure out what flavor profiles work for them, what they think is the correct blend and percentages. Like it was with this brand, it was very much like drive the car off the cliff.
Okay.
Try every single option you can possibly think of before we figure out what we think is right.
Awesome.
So the Golden Pilsner is kind of like the flavoring malt in this instance. It's unchilled, unfiltered. So if we were to have poured this like 40 minutes ago, you might see a little like flock and haze on it.
Okay.
And then sits at 5 years old, but it ages in a char 1.
Okay.
Which I've done a massive amount of research on this because I created a wood science masterclass because I'm a big old wood nerd.
Okay.
That's what she said.
And if someone knows anything differently, please let me know. But I believe we're the only brand out there on the market that ages exclusively in a char 1 barrel.
Okay.
But we worked pretty extensively with Independent Stave Company, who is our cooperage,
Okay.
and tried every different type, again, car, off cliff, in ravine, gone. And this is what worked, right? Because the barley is really delicate. Why did we take all of that time and effort in figuring out a flavoring malt if we were just gonna bury it under char? And it allows those wood acids to stick around, and all of those flavors are kind of still a little more present in the front of the barrel, so that aging process is really different. So there's so much flavor and color from a char 1 in 5 years. It's really kind of impressive to me when you think about it. And
It's a beautiful color.
I agree.
It's really nice.
So the whole vibe around this is like single grain, focused, something simple process that makes something really beautiful.
Okay.
Freddie may not ever see this and he might hate me for saying this, but my favorite pairing is a Cool Ranch Dorito.
Okay.
All of those, like, because American oak is known for its herbaceousness, right, in that dill, but like we usually are charring the hell out of it and losing some of those subtle herbal notes because now all those sugars are getting caramelized once you get to char 4.
Okay.
But all of those herbaceous notes are still very present in a char 1 barrel. So you can kind of go either way. You can go sweet or savory with this.
Okay.
Like it's great with a caramel, but it's also great with a Cool Ranch Dorito, my
All right.
friend. All right, so, do you want to try?
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's try it
first.
first, and then, we'll
Yeah.
cheers.
One of the things that, I love it so much.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things that Freddie talks about when he was talking about the inspiration behind this bottle and the flavor profiles that he was going for, apparently his grandma would make sourdough bread every week. And they lived across the street, and he was like, every week on Sunday, I would walk across the street, and like that would be the scent our home was filled with. So it was like a very familial inspiration behind this brand, which I think is great. I love it, and what's really fun is that there are not these boxes, these preconceived notions for American single malt because it's a little bit of the wild west.
Sure.
So seeing bartenders play around with it, I haven't seen the same thing twice.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, now we got
Now you gotta dive in.
to yeah.
I'm gonna find one that's got a lot of the flavor crystals on there. Make sure you get the herbs. Very important. I'm so excited for you. time going in, this first sip, I was getting a lot of those caramel notes. And as you bring more of those herbs in, they start to come out. And that's what the other fun thing about pairing. What do you want to highlight?
Yeah.
How do you want to? Yeah.
Yeah.
And also now we just have Doritos.
Yeah. Now we got Fuck yeah! All right.
I know.
That's so awesome.
It's so fun, and now you understand why.
Yes.
Spet calls me wild card.
Oh.
I'm a little outside the box at all times.
No, that's awesome. I would never have done that, but that is. Oh.
So fun.
Oh yeah, that is really fucking good. Oh. All right, as we eat our Doritos, question 2.
Oh yeah.
We're doing something, but yeah, who knows? You even said it. You have the longest title known to man.
Yeah.
and so, what is your specific job, and what does a day in the life look like for you?
Ooh, well, fun fact, they're never the same.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so we're a part of what is very affectionately known as advocacy, right?
Okay.
So within the company, you've got marketing people and sales roles and all this stuff, but there is this fun little pocket of misfits that work within advocacy, and you've met some of my counterparts that work on other brands, and I think that we all have that little, we live outside of the box. It's longer, my title is longer solely because we want to refer to James B Beam as James B Beam, right?
Okay.
Jim Beam is a wonderful product. The new Jim Beam Black. Woo. We make whiskey for everyone, but we make a lot of whiskey, right? So if we only called ourselves Jim Beam, no one's thinking about Basil Hayden and Matt Creek and Bookers and Bakers, even though Booker coined the term small batch and was the person that innovated that whole renaissance of craft whiskey, small batch whiskey, even though there's no technical definition around it. But it's very easily forgotten that all of it's made in the same place. And it's just 30 minutes south of Louisville, right there in, goddamn it, beautiful Kentucky.
Yeah.
Every time I'm there, I'm like, I'm so pretty. Makes me feel bad that I live in the concrete jungle, but not actually.
Yeah.
So it is very long because of that. But what we do is truly kind of exactly what we're doing right now. We are the living, breathing embodiment of our brands. There is so much out there. Why does this bartender, why does this consumer care about this?
Right.
And that's what my job is. It's allowing people to create real and genuine connections with our brands, but through education and experiences. It's really important for us. I love throwing a party. I could throw parties all day. I'm not allowed to go to Party City unsupervised. But we want to do it with meaning. We want to do it with purpose. We're not here to just spend willy-nilly money.
Sure.
We want to ensure that you understand what went into this bottle and why do you care about it. Or if maybe you don't care about this one, do you care about the next one? And ensuring that we're equipping our industry and the trade with the tools to be successful with our brands. And there's a lot of different ways to do that. And that's what makes it so fun, and that's why every day is a little bit different, right? Because sometimes it's doing this video, or sometimes it's creating the wood science masterclass that I now get to teach while I'm on the road, and integrating that into our brands and what that means for what we create. And again, giving them now that really fun educational tool to go out and be that much more invested in what they're talking about with the consumer. And that's kind of why I feel like I'm a good fit for this role and for this position, because every day is different and I don't do well in monotony. And because also it allows our brains a little bit more freedom to get creative. Although somehow a lot of really good ideas happen in the shower.
All right.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah, yes. Yeah, Yes, no, but I mean, again, every day is different. But like, I think like you're kind of living almost a dream job because like.
Well, okay, so here's the other thing too, right? Like we love talking about that, right? But it's still a job.
Right.
I still have to create Excel spreadsheets. I still have a budget
Sure.
that I have to absolutely maintain. I still have to like report to people and like tell them that like I'm doing my job and I'm doing it the right way. And there's still calls and planning. Like thankfully I'm very type A, so like spreadsheets bring me joy.
Okay.
What?
But it's all very much, it's a balance, right? There is a corporate side to working for a company like Beam Suntory. And so, you know, like writing recaps and being like, here, person behind a desk that like has no idea what I do.
Right.
This is what I do. And this is why I like make sense in your company. Or like, yes, I absolutely spent the amount of money I was supposed to spend on this and I will not go over.
Or shit, I went over.
No, we don't go over our budget. And things like that. And so it's a balance.
Right.
And it isn't all the perfect, beautiful thing that
Sure.
we put on Instagram. And like some days are easier than others, and sometimes you get frustrated because what we do is outside of the box, and we have to talk to people who are very numbers oriented, or you know, like have a different role and have a different person that they need to report to, and like we need all of these people, right? Like I can't just the same way that I can't be let alone in Party City, I can't be let alone and just do whatever I want in this job. Like we all balance each other out, and it's a lot. And like I think the biggest struggle that most brand ambassadors have is finding a work-life balance, because we are so passionate about what we do. Like we have these roles because we care, and we care so much. Like I care so much, maybe sometimes to a fault where I'm like, okay, you need to like take a deep breath and walk away and calm down, because it is just whiskey, and it's gonna be okay if you close your laptop and get back to it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you know, seeing my parents, they're a 45-minute train ride
Yeah.
away, and my mom's like, come home whenever you want. I'm like, you're right, I need to be better at that.
Yeah.
I'm the child that has to do that because my brother lives further away,
Gotcha.
so it's all. And I love, believe me, I love seeing my parents, but you know, like finding that balance and taking that time and being like, okay, like I need to like make myself a healthy meal and go to that yoga class or whatever. And like, I think that's the struggle for the most part is that, because it's hard to plan. Things change. You have to be able to pivot and work with a lot of different stakeholders. Like it's the bartender, it's the account, it's your boss, it's your sales team, it's your APIs. Like there's a lot of things to juggle and a lot of people to make happy. And then all of a sudden you're like, I didn't eat much. Or stupid, silly things like that.
Yep.
So that's probably the best snapshot of a day in the life.
Okay.
Is figuring out time for you.
Okay.
And creating a boundary where like your embodiment of the brand ends, and the fact that I just want to wear a robe and watch The Sopranos begins.
Who doesn't?
And make giant lasagna that's heavier than a newborn.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I think that's an awesome question too. So cheers. And thank you for changing my life with
Doritos and American single malt,
Yep,
baby.
there we go.
Do we I feel like we should do like a dance into like every new, like it's all just dance breaks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, question 3, drink 3. What are we drinking?
All right, so I know. So you're getting a sneak peek. So technically, A Overholt is on the shelf in Pennsylvania right now,
Okay.
and we're like waiting for it to get here. A Overholt, brand new product. This is something that's been in the works for a long time. I'm sure that you know. Overholt started in 1810 in Pennsylvania. Now everything on the old Overholt bottle says born in Pennsylvania, made in Kentucky. Well, everything's still getting made in Kentucky. We are going back to our Overholt roots. Monongahela mash in beautiful block letters.
Excellent.
So 80% rye, 20% malted barley, Zippo corn. No corn in this jammer.
All right.
It's A is Abraham, that grumpy old man that we love on all of the bottles, are the founder of this brand. And it's so funny. I was like, what is the A? I'm like, Abraham, man. And as soon as you say it, they're like, I kind of wish that, like, out of nowhere, like, Todd Leopold would have, like, come out and start talking about the 3-chamber still and the history of, like, rye at the time, because I don't know if anyone could speak about it as eloquently as he can. But we're not using a 3-chamber still. That's kind of the big difference between what this liquid is versus, like, what you would get in 1810.
Okay.
But the mash bill is very, 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 very historical, right? Sits still at 4 years old.
Okay.
But it does sit at 95 proof. That was the most labels outpour I've ever done in my whole life. Yeah, I'll do it. So sits at 95 proof and is still 4 years old. So as you know, old Overholt is 4 years old. So there's not an age statement difference. So really what you're looking at here is mash bill and proof for what's making this guy different. It's so interesting to me. And again, we talked kind of earlier about changing flavor profiles and allowing space for different styles of rye. This is now, we're on category 3, right? We're on a different road, a different journey. Same grain, but no corn and a completely different flavor journey. I love flavor journeys, clearly.
Obviously, as the Doritos. But...
And what's really great about that is we have been working really closely with West Overton, the OG location for Old Overholt, where it was originally made, and now it is a historical site. It's being turned into a museum and an experience that you can go have. So while no whiskey is being made there, you can still very much be a part of the original space and home of it.
Okay.
And feel those feelings. We like to feel the feelings.
Yeah, we do. And we do. Oh my God, this is just so fucking good. Mm-hmm. This is gorgeous. Oh.
I know, it's so good, right?
So good.
I know.
It just.
It's like a caramelized bananas Foster moment for me. That is addicting. Like, one sip of that flavor just isn't enough. You gotta kind of keep going back, and every time you go back, you get something different. But
you're my third interview in a row that has brought Old Overholt in, which is again,
I love that!
which just like solidifies just everything about because again, this, and it's not because you're here at all. I tell everybody this. Old Overholt is my favorite whiskey or rye, honestly, because it's what my grandfather drank and that's what I drank.
That's so sweet.
like we just interviewed David Wondrich, and it just like he showed up rocking the hoodie with Abraham on it, and it's everything, and it just like we just bonded over that, and then of course Simon had a pour of it as well. It just it just is
our little Scotch baby.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, I love Simon.
Yeah, me too.
It brings me so much joy. I feel like Overholt is such a connector of people. It's a really easy thing to like bond over. And again, now we're just expanding that reach and that ability. And so like we can't ignore where this came from. So why would we?
Yeah.
Like, let's go.
It's fucking glorious. All right. Question 3. We usually call this our talking shit segment, but we're changing it up because you're a psychology major, or we're a psychology major. So we're going to ask you a psychology question. Because again, we're just new friends and we're just going to get to...
Sure.
So, let's say you're in a bar with everyone you ever met.
Yikes.
Who do you look for and what are you drinking?
Who do I look for? I mean, well, okay. So I'm clearly looking for my best friend.
Okay.
I've known Erin since we were 13 years old, so we're 25 years into a friendship, and she is my safe space. Because that also means that my ex-boyfriends are also in that room, and I need my safe space. I saw a post the other day where it's like, cherish those friends because they stuck with you through all your weird phases and all of your growing pains. And if you can grow together, then like there's nothing that can break you up. And like, it's so true. Like she and I are very different people, but she's my family, right? Like she does real things that make the world better. Like she works with the state. She works with the state of New Jersey for survivors, and she like helps with legislation. Like she actually does a lot of really good in this world, and I'm so lucky and thankful that she's my best friend and has stuck with me since I was 13. So she and I will hide in a corner together, and we will drink whiskey because I'm going to tell you this, and she's going to hate me, and I can't wait for it. So we lived together before I moved to New York. We were clearly of age, obviously, because I would never broken the law. And when we lived together, we had a house Pinot Noir, which was Gary Farrell at the time. We had a house tequila, which was Milagro. Sorry, El Tesoro. And I will never forget, Erin looked me dead in the eye, and she goes, "I'm going to make myself a whiskey drinker." And I was like, what a choice. You don't like it, right? You don't like it, but you're going to make yourself like it? Okay, like, I'm here to support you.
Any reason why? Just...
I think at the time it was like for a boyfriend.
I was going to say, was there somebody that she was interested in that was like...
But she just decided that she was like, I'm going to be a whiskey drinker. And I was like, all right. And like, I've never been a particularly picky eater or drinker, right? Like, I was raised in the, like, you try everything once, and then you can tell me why you don't like it, and if you can tell me why you don't like it, then you don't have to, like, eat or drink it again, but, like, you try everything, and you see. You, like, there is no room for I don't like it, and you don't know what it tastes like. So, I was always just like, all right, like, I like whiskey, although, like, let's be honest, my go-to drink was a Long Beach at TGI Fridays. Like, I was not a sophisticated drinker in this current time. I think there were also like 6 packs of Smirnoff Triple Black, which doesn't even exist anymore. I'm definitely aging myself. That's fine. But because she was like going on that journey, it was like a new bottle of whiskey constantly, just like figuring out like what didn't make her want to spit it back out immediately. And now she's obsessed with it, which like when I got this job, like she was happier than I was. But I think I would drink an Old Pal, which we're going to drink at some point during this experience, because I put that on the list because I'm such an Old Pal drinker. Like I used to drink a lot. There was a phase where like all I drank was Negronis. That was about 7 or 8 years ago, and I just kind of like, and then that turned into a Boulevardier, and then the Boulevardier turned into the Old Pal, because I do tend to gravitate towards rye. I do tend to gravitate towards like things that are a little bit drier and more bitter. Like I love a bone dry white wine. I'm one of those psychopaths that likes to drink Malort. Like I am excited when someone's like Malort, and I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh, we thought that we were gonna like hurt you with it, and I'm like, nope. Because it just tastes like grapefruit peel to me, and I'm down for that. But yeah, I'm going to mainline Old Pals in the corner with Erin and avoid eye contact with my ex-boyfriends. Is my psychology answer.
Perfect. Well, there we go. I think that's an awesome question 3. Cheers.
Perfect.
Oh. Question 4, drink 4. What are we drinking?
We are drinking Knob Creek 18, because why not be a little bougie?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Let's be a little
And
bougie.
we killed it too, so.
Very proud of us.
Yes.
And we can have this moment.
Yes.
Be like, remember when?
Remember
Remember when? So, kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, small batch, right? In passing. So, book or no? huge innovator in the world of whiskey. What I love about his story is just, you know, there's a lot of history behind James B Beam. He's been around for quite a long time, 1795, not a short period of time, right? And it would have been really easy to rest on those laurels and be like, we make Jimmy. But why do that? Part of being in this industry and the beauty of it is that, like, there's always something more. There's always something new. There's always a place to move forward towards and, like, work towards. So, like, let's do that. And let's do that together. So Booker created the small batch collection, Knob Creek being the second part of that journey. And it's like a pre-prohibition style whiskey, but with all the benefits of modern technology. Because I think if we got in a time machine...
You're telling me that you built a time machine?
And we went back to pre-prohibition style whiskey, I don't think it would taste as good as the whiskey that we have today. And that's okay, because they didn't have that technology.
Sure.
But we have the technology and the advancements that we've made, and we can have that big, unctuous, bold, beautiful bourbon, but that's still refined. And Knob Creek is one of my favorite to talk about in the sense of, like, when you start with like our entry level Knob Creek is 9 years old, which is a lot older than a lot of the other brands on the shelf that are the same price point, right? But we're starting at 9 with Knob Creek, and you have the ability to go on this vertical adventure and see the same liquid at 9, at 12, at 18, at barrel strength if you're doing a single barrel program. Like, it's just really a fun way to have a full start to finish scale and observation of, like, whiskey and what it does and how it matures and what it can look like. But we're just going straight to 18 because, again, let's be bougie.
Let's be bougie.
I think it's a real treat yourself.
All right.
Treat yourself.
What's lovely about a lot of our whiskeys is that they thrive in this kind of 100 proof area, and in that, like, 9, 12, like, it thrives in this state, and I think that shows pretty magically in this glass.
It's glorious. This is
Knob Creek is a fun one too, because I feel like it expresses our yeast strain a little bit differently. There's, like, a nuttiness across the board, no matter what brand you're drinking that uses our Jim Beam yeast strain. But for Knob Creek, for me, there's a walnut quality that I don't get in some of the other ones that I really enjoy.
all right.
So this is, like, for me, a heavy, mapley syrup walnut pancake moment.
Totally getting that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So, question 4.
Oh God, more about me.
Yep. Love it. What is the best advice you've ever gotten, and the advice that you wish to pass along?
I think I'll start with the advice I wish I would have gotten, right? And not to say that I didn't get it ever, but I just feel like I got it a little bit too late in my career of advocating for yourself. I think it's easy within the hospitality industry because we have this natural desire to, like, serve people and to help people and to create this experience for them. But it's also important to understand and recognize that, like, if you don't take care of yourself first, you don't have the bandwidth to do that for others. And that can come in a lot of expressions. It can come from feeding yourself properly, or taking that yoga class that you want to take, or advocating for your boundaries in your personal time or for your salary. Like, we didn't for so long talk openly about things like that, and now it's the law in New York to state what the pay rate for a job is.
Yep.
But, you know, that didn't happen 10 years ago, and I didn't And I unfortunately definitely came across people who paid me less because I was a woman.
Yeah.
And I learned things like that the hard way. Like I learned that my male predecessor made more than me. And I didn't push, and I didn't ask, and I didn't do the research. And so part of that is on me, but it's things that I didn't think about. And I want everyone to understand that advocating for yourself is just as important and just as vital to your success in your position, because your quality of life is also important.
Damn good advice. So, honestly, you gotta take. The airlines say it perfectly. You gotta put your mask on before you can help anybody else.
Yeah.
And I think I live by that rule, is that, you can't help anybody if you're dead. So, like, that's the...
I lost a lot of years not doing that for myself. And I can shoulda, coulda, woulda myself into the core of the earth, and I don't want to do that, but I'm very grateful that it's something that I can think about today. And that I'm surrounded by people, not only in my personal life, but also within my job, that agree and support and uplift that, which is really, really lovely. Like, I'm so grateful for my coworkers and for my boss, in the fact that, like, that is a story that is told frequently and supported, and I could not be more grateful that I have found myself in that place and with those people. And advice that I've been given, find a mentor to have a connection with, who isn't like in your immediate space, who maybe does something different than you and speaks a different language, that helps to give you a wider perspective outside of exact like what you do in your little world. I think has been great advice that I've been given. That's been helpful for sure, especially as I like move from the smaller jobs and smaller companies into like bigger companies. Like, I've needed that. Like, I don't corporate speak, which I think has been really clear throughout this entire interview.
And we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, we do.
But like there's a time and a place, and so finding people that can continue to broaden your horizons and continue to push you and learn, because the second that you think you know everything, or the second that you just are comfortable and complacent, like, what are you doing, right? Like, I was excited but terrified when I took this job, because I was like, but excited because it's going to challenge me and it's going to force me to grow, and I'm doing something new and different, but that is also satisfying my creative needs and things like that. But it's like, I guess that's also another good advice. Like, there are plenty of jobs that I could have taken that I'm like, I know how to do this, but like, find something that you can own and that you can rock, but it is also gonna challenge you and force you to grow and push forward and learn, because we're always evolving and this world's evolving around us. So it's like, why not, right?
No, and I think that's awesome, because again, we ask this question quite a bit to a lot of people, just because again, everybody
has a different perspective.
Yeah, but it's also, everybody just thinks that you're partying and drinking and having a good time, and they don't really understand the work that really goes into your job.
Oh, sure, yeah.
They see the glamorous life, like you're out and about. You'd be like, oh, I can do that, and you're like, no.
There's a lot.
Yeah, like you'd be like, oh, I'm a spread, but like everybody usually just says, find something that you can be challenged, but also fulfilling in, and the mentorship is the number one answer, and I think that's.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I think it's fucking awesome. Like,
yeah.
I think that's really great. So I think cheers to question 4. So.
Cheers to question. I mean, you came up with the questions. I'm loving it.
Yeah, thank you. But I mean,
sorry, do you need trademark for that? Trademark usage.
It's under 15 seconds. We're good.
Perfect.
Question 5, drink 5, dance break.
Love a dance break.
What are we drinking?
So, we're drinking an Old Pal.
Okay.
Because I said, if I'm hidden in a corner of everyone I know, I'm drinking an Old Pal. So this was pre-planned before I ever answered that question. But we're sticking along the like being a little bougie moment, and we're drinking an Old Overholt cask strength 10-year-old Old Pal. So this is because we're so fancy. This is something that's really super special. It was released last year. What is there. There is no more of it. It actually even says 2023 and like beautiful gold emblems on the side. But this particular bottling came from an Escalator warehouse that we made a lot of those in the 1960s.
Okay.
So an Escalator warehouse is technically one floor, but has this one has about 12 levels.
Okay.
So it's not like one row of barrels and like that's it, but it is technically only one floor. The view, beautiful, right? You see like our, we call it the American Outpost, which is like where you gather for your tour and has all like the fun things to buy. And like you see the kitchen table where you can like go have lunch or dinner if you're there, which by the way, if you're there, like for the love, please eat at the kitchen table. The food is so good.
Okay.
And the pizza dough is made with our yeast strain.
Okay.
It's like the only thing that is allowed to use our yeast strain, like aside from our whiskey. And it's really delicious.
Love an Old Pal. So.
Love an Old Pal. Cheers. Man.
All right. Question 5. Last drink of the night.
Yep.
Last question of the night. Comes down to the flip of the whiskey Wednesday coin. You can flip it, you can spin it, you do whatever you want.
Because these are so heavy. I don't know if I could flip it.
That's what she said. That's what she said.
The coin gives us the answer. You do not have to answer. The coin gives us the answer. But
Okay.
this question comes from our friend Simon. So
I love Simon.
I'm gonna steal his boots one day. Just because it's magical and whiskey keeps coming out of it.
He's like the Mary Poppins of Scotch.
Yeah, he's just like, everybody always just asks, he's like, what's in the boot? What's in the boot? And he's just like, out comes something new. Yeah.
He's such a wealth of knowledge, but is also the kindest man. Like, he's been doing this for so long, but is still so humble and so kind. Like, Simon Bricky, he's goals.
Yeah.
He's ambassador goals.
Yes. Yeah. Question 5.
Yes. I'm gonna spin it. I can't flip it.
Perfect.
It's too heavy.
It is a weapon. Again, just throw it at somebody. Is it true you were in the circus?
And I spin it?
Yep.
Okay. And the coin tells us.
Yep.
And then I answer for real.
Well, you kind of,
Who's
or
to
you
say?
could just leave it as whatever the coin says. So.
Oh, that was a better spin than I thought it was going to be.
That's a really good spin.
I expected to do that and like accidentally fling it at your face.
No, good.
And then have to apologize.
Says no.
The coin's a liar. One of the really, really fun things that I've gotten to do in my life, as I mentioned, I kind of just tried everything out. A good friend of mine, Pam Wisnitzer, got the opportunity with the Big Apple Circus. So they needed to rebrand. They were, Big Apple Circus going bankrupt. And a production company bought them out. And a room of people decided the way to make money is to give alcohol to the adults there with a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
And it's the smartest thing a room full of executives have ever done. Because they were very, very correct. So I got a call from Pam asking me to join her team in creating the first beverage program for the Big Apple Circus.
Awesome.
It was obviously a seasonal adventure they set up at Lincoln Square, and a bunch of friends and I got to make drinks for the circus. And it was really cool because like not only did we have the actual days where we had just regular circus scene going on, I don't know what the correct verb is, but we also did like what they call dark nights. So like nights where there wasn't a actual circus happening, but we had like the House of Yes do their dirty circus, and we had drag shows, and we had a Broadway Cares event, and like all these really fun things. And actually the first day, this is cool / so embarrassing, because one day and one day only did we wear white button-up shirts, red suspenders, and red bow ties. And then it was a group of all female bartenders, and we were like, we don't want to dress like this. Like, this is not how women dress their bodies,
right.
And this needs to change. But the one day and the one day only was the day that they filmed for The Real Housewives of New York.
Oh.
And I'm in the show dressed like that. And it's the only time I ever dressed like that. And it's the only time that I'm on effing television dressed like that. And so, like, I know anytime someone starts to watch that season, because I get a text and they're like, oh my God, you're on The Real Housewives? And I'm like, in the freaking suspenders. Like, are you kidding me? And truth be told, I've never watched it.
Okay.
So I have no idea what you see, what I'm saying, what's happening. I guess I should probably find the episode.
What is that you just made?
The Pop It Like It's Hot.
What's in there?
It's tequila, popcorn syrup, a little saline solution, and some lime.
Cute. I'll have one of those.
Sounds good.
And those stupid effing suspenders. Like, it's terrible. It's terrible for a woman's body. Like, don't ever dress your bartenders like that. And I've actually had that fight with operators before where they're like, we need to wear white shirts. And I'm like, no, we don't.
Yeah.
Like, not only is it not good for your whole staff because everyone's body is different, but also, like, come on, man. I'm covered in whatever I did that day.
Spills, whatever, splashes.
My first job ever, like, as a server, before I ever got behind the bar, we had to wear a white shirt. And, like, I'll never forget my mom being like, how did you get spaghetti sauce in your armpit? Like, what did you do? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't remember doing anything. But, like, lo and behold, there it is.
There it is.
So I got, like, we stopped wearing that, which was great. And we started wearing, like, ringmaster jackets and, like, made it really fun, which was awesome. But yeah, I had the pleasure of working at the Big Apple Circus for a couple months and eating as much popcorn as my little heart desires. And it was always cheddar. It was never regular. I always went for the cheddar popcorn. Because I am a cheese fanatic, which is like 40% of my personality. It's fine.
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
5 drinks down, 5 questions answered.
Nailed it.
What a fucking glorious day to be day drinking. Thank you so much, Allie. I really appreciate it.
I love that you asked me to be here.
And I hope that we can drink together very, very soon.
Hell yeah.
So,
let's do it.
cheers.
Cheers.
And thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Tim.